Self-settling is a very loaded phrase, and but at the end of the day, what it basically refers to is your baby or your toddler's ability to go to bed tired and ready for sleep, lie in their bed and fall asleep without input from you, much the way that our older children or we ourselves would fall asleep. Self-settling has become a relatively infamous term, and that's due to a lot of the more famous sleep training methods, like the Cry It Out method and the Ferber method and the extinction method, which were historically sort of the only way to get your baby to fall asleep independently. However, these days, the more we know and the more we know about how sleep works, obviously now we have a lot more of a variety of methods that don't have to involve those sort of more harsher sleep training. So self-settling is definitely something that any baby is capable of doing, because it's just falling asleep. Falling asleep is not overly complicated. It's one of the most primary biological responses, and so if everything's lined up right for your baby in terms of their awake times and that they're appropriate for their age and their nap structure, and they're in a good predictable pattern to their day and their sleep environment is spot on, then self-settling is not really going to be too much of an issue. And it's definitely something that you might be wanting to look to achieve with your child once they go through the 4-month sleep progression and they start having more pronounced, very developed sleep cycles. So in a nutshell, self-settling is very achievable. It's just a natural way of falling asleep. It's not synonymous with crying or an abandoned baby, despite what you might have read on the internet. And we've got a lot more articles about self-settling on our website, and a lot more videos if you're interested in finding out more about the topic on our YouTube channel.
We definitely can see how sleep training at nighttime only can work, and you do definitely have nice sleep hormones to help your baby go to sleep, and you also have the circadian rhythm on your side, but at the end of the day, if you're not looking at the naps as well, your baby may be napping too much or too little during the day. Your baby might be overtired or might be undertired when you try and put them down to sleep. And no matter how much sleep training you do, that the daytime is definitely going to affect your nighttime. So your baby may end up waking overnight just purely because they're having a restless night, because they're overtired from being out all day, which is a little bit unfair on your baby. So we definitely want to always look at the naps as well as the nights, and we'll go from there.
Sleep training is a huge topic in itself, and a contentious topic, and a misunderstood topic. And I think if you're looking at sleep training your baby or toddler, you're probably talking about getting them to fall asleep independently so they sleep better overnight, to reduce night waking and to get a more consolidated nighttime sleep. Sleep training in itself is not always going to work, and the reason for that is because some people approach night sleep differently to daytime sleep, and they don't understand the relationship between the two. And there are even some organisations out there that just look at sleep training your baby or toddler overnight, and there are a whole range of different methods. You would have heard of some of the more infamous methods like Cry It Out or Ferber or Extinction, and these sleep training methods focus on getting your baby to put themselves to sleep overnight and any time that they wake during the night. I'm not about to debate the pros and cons of each separate sleep training method, and ultimately whatever approach you choose to take with your own child is your choice, and it's completely up to you, and there's no judgment here. But what I would say is, if you are looking at sleep training or any sort of working on your child's nighttime sleep, you first have to look at what's happening in their daytime. So the reason that your sleep training might not be working is because your baby is just not ready or able to sleep better at night. And the main reason that that would be happening is because something's happening in their day that's negatively affecting their night. So this could be they are having too much sleep during the day, they're napping for too long in the day, that they're genuinely just not tired enough to sleep better overnight. And so no amount of sleep training is going to make your child more tired if they're just not tired enough to sleep. The opposite of that is if they haven't had enough daytime sleep and they're really, really overtired. And so they're going into the night with a lot of the overtired hormones coursing through their body. They're already agitated and overstimulated, and so sleep is harder to achieve under any circumstances when you're overtired. And so in this situation, just looking at your baby's nighttime and working through whatever technique you're using or you've been given to sleep train them at night, the odds are stacked against you to begin with because your child is so overtired. Another factor that can influence the success of sleep training is the environment in which your child is sleeping. So if they've got a room that's quite bright, or if there's a bright night light, or stimulating toys and musical mobiles and things in their sleep environment that aren't helping them relax into sleep, then that is also going to get in the way of the effectiveness of your sleep training method. So the first place we would really start is by looking at your child's day. And in actual fact, when a lot of people are trying to fix or improve their child's nighttime sleep, sometimes just making some changes during the day is enough to see really positive change overnight. And it might be changing nap times, or it might be capping nap hours, or it might be working on more age appropriate awake windows, or it might be something as simple as making their room darker or introducing white noise. So that's the very first place we would start, is ruling out all of the easy things, so to speak, the things that we can quite easily control. And from there, you're in a much better place to start looking at what else is happening overnight and whether sleep training is even really necessary. But we would only do it once we'd sort of lined everything else up in the day. So if you're sleep training, if you're trying to do some sort of sleep training with your baby and it's just not working, they're just getting more and more upset, you're just getting more and more upset, have a look at our sleep programs, because like I said, we can start step by step. We can start getting everything in their whole 24-hour day properly aligned, so that if you do need to cross some sort of sleep training bridge, you're in a far better place to do so. And from there, we actually have up to 9 different methods that you can choose from, which are tailored to individual babies' different sleep associations, to their temperaments, to your preferences as a parent. So, we don't just say this is a one size fits all, you have to do this one particular method. You're able to choose something that you're a lot more comfortable with. I hope that's helped explain why your sleep training might not be working the way you thought it would with your baby. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for way more baby sleep videos.
So getting your baby to go to sleep and self-settle is getting your baby to learn how to go to sleep when they're ready. They won't go to sleep if they're not tired. They won't go to sleep if they are overtired. And they also will cry if they have a really, really strong parent association, especially in an older baby. Not so much in a younger baby, but if they have a really strong parent association that you're suddenly not giving them anymore. Our programs go through a much more gradual method of being able to remove the parent-controlled association for older children, but for younger babies, often parents find in our programs that really, if they were giving them the dummy, or if for a younger baby, if they're trying to remove the dummy, or if they're trying to remove a rock to sleep association, that because they're following more a holistic approach and their baby is actually nice and ready to go to sleep, that the dummy or the rocking to sleep actually wasn't needed in the first place, and it is really quite quick at removing that parent-controlled association. And your baby doesn't need to cry. You can be there the whole time to help them go to sleep and then eventually remove yourself as well.
One of the ladies decided, after 3 weeks, she decided she'd give up on the program for a second, she'd teach self-soothing first and then get him back in the routine. I was just wondering what your guys' thoughts were on doing it that way around.
The reason, I mean, I'm not going to say it's never going to work, because that's an impossible thing to say, but the reason that we say to try and get a bit of the routine established first before teaching self-settling is that some of the time the reason that a baby won't self-settle is because they're just not tired enough, or they're overtired. So first of all, by making sure that the awake times are right and the naps are happening at exactly the right times, that they'll be perfectly ready for sleep, self-settling is going to be a lot easier. And also, because if a baby's not perfectly ready for sleep, no amount of sleep training or working towards self-settling is going to be as effective, because you're fighting against them biologically, like you're fighting against overtiredness or undertiredness. Whereas if they're perfectly ready for sleep, their body they're tired, they've got the sleep hormones, they've got the real high sleep pressure, that self-settling is going to come easier. So, I mean, I do know that some people do tackle self-settling even just overnight without any kind of daytime routine. In our experience, it's just a lot easier to achieve it in a more gentle way. So teaching self-settling, if your baby's not totally ready for sleep, can very often result in a lot of crying as well. So those are the kind of people who are probably then going to go, it's not working, my baby's crying heaps, or this is a crying method, or it's only going to work with crying, but it's probably just that the conditions for sleep weren't right to start with. So yeah, and sometimes babies will do it almost on their own if all of the conditions for sleep are right.